Hey book lovers, welcome to my channel. My name is Ashley and that's Ronan and Genesis. Today is a beautiful day in Kansas City. It is like 70 degrees and sunny. Obviously the sun's going down now, but I came home and opened the windows and the dogs are enjoying watching everybody outside walking and all the kids playing and everything. And so they're being a little bit noisy today, but that's okay. They just like to watch everything and they're just we have two very vocal dogs. So today I am going to talk to you about the books that I read in February. And then since both of these lists are kind of short, I'm just going to go ahead and combine them and also do my March TBR. So let's just get started. First for books that I read in February was Shipped by Angie Hockman. I ended up rating this one 5 stars. It's basically a book about 2 employees for a cruise company that are up for the same promotion. And basically, in order to determine who will get the promotion, their boss sends them on one of the cruises. And basically, whoever comes up with the best pitch for getting more people on their cruises is the one who gets the promotion. I really liked this one. It's like a hate to love relationship, pretty mild hate to love though. But I really liked it because the main thing that I liked is the main male character, Graham. I just found him to be a very, very genuine person, and he was super supportive. So a lot of times in like romance books, what you get is the female has a problem, the woman has a problem, and the male fixes it for her. So in this book, instead of fixing the problem for her and being the big macho male, Graham is just supporting her. He's letting her take the front in dealing with her own issues and standing up for herself. And he's just there to support her in whatever way that she sees fit. So instead of taking the reins from her, he's letting her control her own carriage, and he's just going to be the supporting, the supporting guy. And that to me was just really awesome to see in a book. While this was a romance book, it did deal with some pretty big issues as far as women in the workplace goes. And so it was cool to see that representative as a woman, a working woman, and also in a field that is mostly men. And also to see the male character be so supportive while not taking over for her. There's kids out front. Okay, so anyway, that was a 5 star. I highly recommend it. It was a really like fun read, even though it did have those pretty serious like vibes in it. Overall, it was a very like rom-com fun book to read. Okay, so after that, I have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, which is not a fun, uplifting or light book to read. It may be considered a little bit uplifting, but in a really different way. Like, it's very, you have to be in the right mood to read this book. So for a brief synopsis, it's basically about a woman who commits suicide. And instead of dying, she goes to the Midnight Library, which is this sort of like in between life and death. And basically what it is she gets to all the books in the library, she gets to pick them up and read them, which ends up entering her into this other life that she could have lived. So basically all the books in the library are lives that she could have lived based upon different decisions she could have made. And so she goes into it thinking, oh, well, if I would have done this, then I would have been happy. I wouldn't have been depressed and my life would have been great and I would have been successful. But then what happens is she gets into them and she realizes that, okay, sure, maybe she wasn't, depressed in the same way, but she was still depressed. She still had issues. She still wasn't, 100% happy. And so it's a very powerful book about, about life and being happy and depression and anxiety and just all of those, mental issues that people struggle with on a daily basis. So definitely look up the trigger warnings for this. Make sure you know what you're getting into when you pick this up because it is pretty rough. Very, very sad book. But like I said, it's also really quite uplifting and powerful. And it just makes you look at your life and realize that there are a million possibilities out there and maybe things aren't going your way right now. But all you have to do is make a new choice and things can change. So I ended up reading that one 4 stars. It just wasn't quite a 5-star read for me, but... Okay, so then I have Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah. This one was a 5-star read for me. And Kristin Hannah is just an amazing author, you guys. Like, I am just so flabbergasted that you can read these books that are so devastating and so sad and awful but yet they're so good and you just keep going back for more. So even though you're literally bawling your eyes out on your drive home listening to the audiobook, you still go and you get online and you order like 3 more of her books, because why not? You want to experience some more of it. So anyway, this one, most of you probably know about this one because it's kind of been in the highlight lately because of the Netflix series that just came out. So it's basically about the relationship between Tully and Katie, who meet when they're like 14, and their relationship spans over like 3 or 4 decades. Like, it goes on forever. The layout of the book is really neat because it actually goes in, you know, by the year, by the decade. And so it's just kind of fun to see that play out. Excellent book. I like the book better than the show. I'm just going to throw that out there. The show is still good, guys. I'm not going to like diss on the show. Just know going in that it is based off of the book. So with that being said, they did change quite a few things. So don't go into it expecting to get this, because it's not. But it is still excellent. And yeah, so okay. Then I have Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is another one of these like weird like alternate reality, you know, what choice should I make and what happens when I make them. So basically Hannah is out with her friends. She just moved back to LA. And she has the choice to go home with her best friend, or she has a choice to go home with her like old boyfriend, old flame. And it's basically, once she makes that decision, it splits into 2 different timelines. And it's basically about like how her life turns out each way and the differences and the similarities between them. One of the best things in this relationship is actually her friendship with her best friend, Gabby. They are some badass women who are so supportive of each other. They're fun and, you know, they're not afraid to take life by the horns. They're both, you know, working women, trying to figure out their lives. And while they're super supportive and super, you know, like good to each other, which I find this to be good in a friendship, is they also know when to tell you that you're being stupid. So they know when to call you out on your shit, and I find that to be a really good thing to have in a friendship. So that is probably my favorite thing in this book. But anyway, so both stories were, I mean, they're really good both ways. You know, they have their differences, and but they also have a lot of similarities, and it's kind of interesting to see how that turns out. So yeah. Okay, so then I have another Kristin Hannah book, The Four Winds. So my book club did a like most anticipated, like, I don't know, like readathon, or I don't know what they called it. I don't think it was readathon, but anyway. So basically over the weekend, I read this entire book, and it's like, I don't know, it's like 400 pages, sorry. It's 450 pages. And so it's a pretty big book to read in 2 days, which, whatever. I wasn't doing anything. Also probably why I'm a little bit burnt out, though. This is another book that's sad and heartbreaking and depressing and awful, but also uplifting and beautiful in the end. But basically it's about a family surviving the Great Depression. I guess I don't really know how accurate all the historical, like, you know, references were and everything. But it is an amazing look into living in the Great Depression, which I know that, like, you know, schools in the United States obviously cover the Great Depression, but I don't feel like they cover it to this extent. So it was really eye-opening to be able to experience this through the same family and experience everything that they were going through. So, anyway, highly recommend that you pick this up. Maybe don't read it in 2 days because you might get burnt out and then end up in a reading slump. So I did read a couple more books after I read that one. I read The Wrong Family by Taryn Fisher, which I rated 4 stars. Basically, this is about like a family, a husband and a wife and their son. He's like a teenager, I think. And then it's this older woman who like thinks that she knows them. And so it's just like her like kind of getting little bits of information and kind of fiddling with their lives. I thought it was really good. I know it's getting a lot of like bad reviews right now, but I really didn't think it was, I thought it was pretty good. But anyway, I listened to the audiobook for this one, which I think really helped me like get through it after reading The Four Winds, because then I got to the X Talk and I did not have the audiobook for this one, and it kind of took me a long time to read like a rom-com that's like pretty short. Like, it shouldn't have taken me that long to read it, but it kind of took a while. So anyway, this one is about 2 people who work at a radio station, and basically the radio station is kind of struggling and they need to come up with some way to like get more, you know, to make more money, to get more people listening to them. So they pitch this idea of 2 exes, you know, talking about like relationship advice. And of course, like, the boss, like, he can't afford to hire anybody else. So he decides to make these two people who have this, like, you know, kind of banter, you know, good chemistry, make them pretend like they dated at one point and start this podcast and radio show giving relationship advice and talking about their relationship and you know, all that kind of stuff. So really unique concept. Also has a podcast element if you're like into that in books, which I think is really fun. Like I said, I didn't have the audiobook, but I bet the audiobook would be really good with the podcast elements in it. I love Dominic in this one. He is like this really tall, like Korean Korean man. And, he's just like so sweet and like innocent and, kind of grumpy sometimes too though. And I love it. They were so cute. Very interesting. Another really good relationship with the main girl, which, oh, sorry, I can't remember her name, Shay. She also had a really good like friendship with her best friend. So I love seeing that stuff represented in books. So yeah, so everything that I read in February were 4 and 5 stars. So that is absolutely amazing. An amazing reading month. Like I said, I think I just kind of got burnt out there at the end. It was a lot of reading in just a few weeks, and I kind of hit a little wall with the reading. So moving into what I'm planning on reading in March, I have picked up and I've read just a little bit of Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. So I read The Way of Kings back in January, and now I'm picking this one up. I don't know if I'll get through it all this month. It might be a March and April thing, but you know, it's another really big book. It's slightly bigger than the other one, but still around like 13 or 1400 pages, so not like crazy. I have the audiobook again, and the audiobook is like 3 hours longer than The Way of Kings was. But anyway, so yeah, picking that one up. Other than that, which seems like a really weird TBR because like that one for the whole month, and then these other books are part of a readathon that's only a week long, so I don't know. So the readathon that I'm planning on participating in, I'm gonna move my notebook over here. I kind of just have the prompts and stuff written down. So this is the Backlist Readathon, which is hosted by Jacqueline Wheeler and 2 other book influencers, and I can't remember their names. I'm sorry. I really only know about it because I follow Jacqueline Wheeler on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm also part of her book club. So like that's really how I know about it. So first of all, I'm going to tell you the prompts that they have set for this readathon. What's out there, Ronan? Okay, so the prompts are: 1 is to read a backlist book that was published before 2017. Number 2 is to read a middle grade backlist. Number 3 is to read a backlist from your favorite genre. Number 4 is to read an Own Voices backlist. Number 5 is to read a backlist recommendation by a book influencer. And then number 6 is kind of like they considered a bonus one, since a lot of, you know, some people aren't going to be able to participate in this one, but it's to read a backlist book of the month book. So I did not pick books for each genre or each prompt because that would be like 6 books, and there's no way I'm reading 6 books in a week. So I narrowed it down to 3 that are covering 5 of the 6 prompts, and we'll be lucky if I get to those. Hey boys, hey, can you be quiet? I'm almost done. Be quiet for just a few more minutes. Okay, so the first book that I picked out was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. And this is going to cover, let's see, it will cover the backlist from my favorite genre, romance, a Own Voices backlist, and the book of the month backlist. So it is a book of the month. So that one is going to cover 3 of the prompts, and then I have 2 books to cover the other one. So then I have Fly Away by Kristin Hannah, which is the sequel to Firefly Lane, and that is for the published before 2017. This was published in 2013, so it will cover that one. And then I have 2 books that I have like kind of in my head to cover the backlist recommendation by a book influencer. So like I said, I follow Jacqueline Wheeler, and I have listened to or watched a couple of her videos where she has talked about these books, and these books happen to be on sale on Kindle a couple weeks ago. So I got them for like $2 or $3 a piece, and since I was interested in reading them, I went ahead and snatched them up while they were like on sale. And yeah, so those are The Idea of You by Robin Lee, which Jacqueline talks about this one literally all the time in our book club. And so I think this is like an age gap romance is really all I know about it. And then the other one that I picked out is from a recent video of hers where she read Jessie's like favorite books, and that is The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. So either one of those will work for that recommendations by a book influencer. And so I'm kind of just going to read the synopsis on those and just kind of, you know, pick one to read. So what I'm trying to do is cover 5 of the 6 prompts with 3 books. And then I didn't pick one for the middle grade backlist, and that's really because I don't own any middle grade. I don't read middle grade. So yeah, I'm not going to go like buy a book just to read it. So I'm not going to cover that one, but that's okay. So I think that's everything that I have as far as books that I read in February and books that I'm planning on reading in March. Let me know if you're participating in the backlist readathon. Would be very interested to know what books you're planning on reading for the prompts. Any ideas that you have. Maybe I have some of them on my shelf, and that'll give me some options. So yeah, anyway, I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.